All right, so welcome to Strong and Steady. We're going to mobilize our joints just a little bit first before we get to our wall. So take your feet about hip width distance apart. You want your toes going straight ahead, your knees going straight ahead, and you want to just find the ground with your feet. So it's like you're trying to anchor those feet down into the ground. And for me, that means trying to find all four corners of my feet. So you have two corners, one on each side of the midfoot, kind of the ball of your foot. And then your heel, you have two sides to the heel. So you're going to try to ground your foot, both sides down into the ground. My feet are a little too wide. My hips aren't quite that wide. And then I'm going to lift up right through my quads right here. I'm going to lift up like I'm trying to pull my knees up slightly. And when I do that, my legs kind of come apart, get a little more stable. Feels like my arch of my foot might be lifting up slightly. And then from there, you're just going to do a little bit of a lift here. So you're pulling up and in through your abdominal area. And then we're going to take those arms and roll them up so your shoulders come up, and then sink your arms down and settle them behind you with your thumbs facing forward, shoulders pulled down and back. And then from this position, we're just going to reach up overhead and take our first nice big deep breath of the morning here. Inhaling, reaching up a little higher, and exhaling, bringing your arms down by your side. Very good. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and move our hips from side to side. This is where we're going to mobilize our ankles, our hips. So you're just kind of doing these little hip circles. And then each time you go around, go a little bigger. Make that circle just a little wider, a little bit bigger. Let's do one more really big one. And then we're going to go the other direction. You can start small, make these little to begin with. And then get a little bigger each time. And one more big one. Good. All right. Now let's take our feet a little wider than our hips. So now we're going to be shifting our weight from one side to the other. And I'm going to let someone in. So keep going. Just shifting your weight from one side to the other. Getting the sense of now lifting your heel if you haven't already started doing that. And you're gradually just starting to push through your knees, pushing and pointing that toe and tapping it to the earth. Right, let's add some little arm swings to this. Now getting a little more mobilized through our shoulders. And take those arms a little higher. Get a little bit higher, not quite as high as your head, but just right about where your ear is, maybe would be the highest you'd want to go. For 4, 3, 2, let's bring those arms down. And we're going to put the hands on the hips. And now change your foot. So now I'm going to have you lift your heel up and back like this. So we're still shifting the weight from side to side, just lifting one heel and then the other. For 4, 3, 2. Now let's see if we can do that while we do a reach and pull with the arms. So you reach and pull, reach and pull, reach and pull. And I want you to think about, like at the beginning when I had you pull your shoulders down and back, you're getting that same sensation, pull them down and back. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Now bring your arms up a little higher. See if you can do it about chest height. 4, 3, 2. All right, hands to the hips. Give your legs a little break. Take it back to that little tap where we're just going side to side, tapping the toe. For 4, 3, 2. Now let's set the heel in front and just tap it down, alternating sides. And you can make these as small or as big as you want. So if you're feeling up to it, you take them a little wider and make that base of support a little bigger. And then we're going to add that reach and pull right here. So you reach and pull and pull and pull. Good. Keeping those shoulders down and back. 4, 3, bring those arms up, chest height, pull it back, squeezing between the shoulder blades. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Let's shake out those arms and we're going to find our wall. So if it's not a wall, it could be a door. Like I said, just make sure the door is shut. If it opens from the other side, you're able to lock it. Just you can lock it so nobody opens it while you're leaning into the door. So have your feet about, I usually have mine 12 to maybe 16 inches away from the wall, but that just means I'm going to be using a lot more leg strength. If you're new to this, you can have your feet about 6 to 8 inches away from the wall. The key is you never let your knees cross past midfoot. So if you're having to You want to have soft knees. You don't want to have them perfectly straight. But if you want to get a little more leg strength out of it, bring your feet out a little further. All right, so if this is your first time doing it, you're just going to get into a comfortable position with your feet hip width distance apart, toes straight ahead. And what we're going to be doing is activating our abdominal muscles to begin with. So to do that, we do a little pelvic tilt. It just means you're taking your hip bone, you're rolling your hip. So the front hip is coming up towards the rib cage, and your low back then sits flat against the wall. When we do this, we're engaging a lot of these abdominal muscles that support our spine. So we're going to hold this and build some endurance into those abdominal muscles, keeping that low back pressed into the wall. If I had a piece of paper or something behind your back and I was pulling on it, you don't want to let me pull it out. So you want to get that arch out of your back and get it flat as you can onto the wall. All right, so we've held it there for about 45 seconds. So now you can go ahead and bring your arms up 90 degrees. Now we're going to activate the upper body, the muscles that support our head and shoulders. So you're going to press your elbows right up into the wall. Try to get your shoulders as close to the wall as you can. Pressing these shoulders towards the wall while you have your elbows pressed in. But then you need to revisit your low back. Is it arching? Is it pulling away? If it is, re-tilt. Get that firing up right through the abdominals. Now I want you to press those elbows in just a little bit more than you were. Maybe 30% of your strength, pressing those elbows, keeping that low back pressed in. We're going to hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's relax those arms. Now we've just fired up a lot of posture muscles, and now we're going to strengthen those muscles in our back, that shape of V, right between the shoulder blades, that keep our shoulders up, chest up, head up. They're important posture muscles to keep us upright. So go back to the elbows, and then you're going to just open up. See how far out you can get the backs of your hands towards the wall. Some of you might not touch the wall with the backs of your hands. That's okay. Just reach for the wall. Now you're doing a stretch through the chest. All right, so we've got this really wide W going on. Your elbows can come away from the hips and start to widen out into a nice T shape. Now your arms are stretching out to the side like a T. And you're going to press the backs of the hands as close to the wall as you can. And then we're going to shape it back into a W, pulling those elbows down again, keeping those backs of the hands as close to the wall as you can, squeezing those elbows in into a W. Let's press it out again. We're strengthening a lot of little new muscles from the back. So if you're feeling something, you're probably feeling those muscles. Your abs should be engaged at the same time. Press it back out, pull it back in, elbows in, make your wide W. Okay, this will be the last one. Press it out nice and long and wide, like a T. And now bring your arms down, shake them out. And then we're going to take the hands, press them into the wall here, hinge forward, and push yourself up off the wall, and then come on up. All right, we're going to come back to the center of our space here where we have room to move. And we're going to go back to that little toe tap that we started with. And now we're going to add single shoulder rolls. So we've got our legs warmed up, we've got our core engaged, got that whole body connecting from top to bottom. And now we're going to bring this up into an elbow circle. You just make them nice and slow and controlled. It's all about getting the mobilization right through that shoulder, not making it fast and jerky. So if it means you're not coming up very high, that's okay. Now, those of you that have comfortable shoulders, and this isn't bothering you at all, bring it out into an arm circle. So big arm. And reaching and pulling it back. 4, 3, 2. Let's bring those hands down to the hips now. Go back to that heel lift. So lifting. This time, we're trying to bring up our heart rate just a little bit. So we're going to do it with a little more oomph. Bend the knees, push and push. Add that reach and pull. So you're pulling it and pull. All right, looks good. 5, 4, 3, 2. Bring those arms up, shoulder height. 5, 4, 3, 2. Now pull from the sky. If you have healthy shoulders and this doesn't bother you, you're pulling down from the sky like a lat pull down. 5, 4, 3, 2. Hands back on the hips and tap that toe. Going back where we started, and now we're gonna take the heel and set it out front. And you're gonna try to cross it out in front just a little bit, pressing the heel down, flexing, pulling those toes up a little bit to the sky. 4, 3, 2, let's add the reach and pull from here. Pull and pull. All right. These could be small movements if you're feeling a little bit winded or out of balance, or if you want to make it more challenging, take it a little bigger, reach a little further. 4, 3, 2, bring the arms up, chest height. Squeeze it back, squeeze it. 5, 4, 3, let's take it from overhead. Last set right here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, looks good. 3, 2, and 1. March it out. Shake out those arms. Our march starts with just a small march, but you want to think about engaging through that core. So you're lifting up right through here through the center line of the body. Shoulders are going to remain down and back. So in other words, you don't want to march like this. All right, you want to really get up tall, shoulders down and back, core engaged. Then we're going to start to lift the knees higher. Now you really need to use some abdominal muscles to get those knees higher, especially when we do it slow and controlled. Now add some arms. We're going to get that heart rate going a little bit. Pumping those arms, getting those knees a little higher. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, and let your arms just go down by your side, shake them out. And we're going to take our feet wide. So this will be a wide march. So you just take your feet out a little wider and you start to pump those arms, starting with small, a little bit more controlled steps. And now we're going to take it a little higher. If you're ready for it, it'll get your heart rate up. You start bringing those arms up a little bigger, knees a little higher, keeping the chest lifted. 5, 4, 3, 2, and back to center. And just small marches. All right, so we're going to combine those two. So we're going to do 2 narrow, 2 wide, and then just repeat that. So starting right here, you go narrow, narrow, wide, wide. So it's narrow and wide. Then you add those arms. So it's in and out, in and out. Good, in. Pump those arms, get that heart rate up, keep the chest lifted, eyes up. 4 more, 4, and 3, good, 2, last one, march it out. All right, high knees, get them a little higher, big arms. 5, 4, 3, 2, take it wide. And start to get it a little bigger. 5, 4, 3, 2, back to center. Wide, wide, narrow, narrow, wide and narrow. Wide and narrow, good. Wide and narrow. 3, 2 more. Last one, and march it out. All right, we're gonna visit our rocking step. I haven't done this one for a couple weeks, but we'll start with the left leg. We're gonna rock it where it goes forward and then back. Same leg, forward, and then it steps back. So the basic step is just here, step and back. Make it more challenging by doing a press and a pull. Press and a pull. 5 more. Press and pull. 4, 3, take 2, 1 more. Then we're going to stop in the center and switch sides. Now at your other foot, forward and back. The same foot that goes forward is going back. All right, looks good. Let's do the press and pull for 5 and 4, 3, 2, last one, stop in the center, march it out. And then we're going to do from the beginning our wide, wide, narrow, narrow, and then go into that rocking step. Ready? Start right. Wide, wide, narrow, narrow. Okay, 2 more of those. 1 more, and now we're going to rock and step right here. So it's rock and back. 2, we'll do 2 more of these. Now 1 more of these, stop in the center, switch sides. Step it and bring it back. 2 more. 3, one more, stop in the center, and march it out. Good. All right, so now what we're gonna do is add on to that. So we will be adding on 2 dig steps. You guys probably think these are one of my favorites. Well, you're right, they are. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the right. It's 2 digs, then you go to the left. Now take it back 4 steps. 2, 3, dig it up, 2, and to the side, and back. And dig it up right here, 2, 2, and back it up. All right, let's do that 2 more times. Take these steps a little bigger if you're trying to get your heart rate up. Take them smaller if you're trying to keep your heart rate level. 1 more time. Back it up. We're going to start at the beginning. Right here, wide, 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 and narrow. Good. Wide. 2 more. 1 more. And then we go to the rocking step right here. So it's rock and back. 2 and 3. We got 1 more. Stop in the middle, switch feet. So step and back. 2 and back. 3. 1 more. Step and dig it forward. Dig. 2. Back it up for 4. Do it again. Dig it up. 2. Back it up. Let's do that 2 more times. Take nice big steps. Back it up. We just got 1 more of these. Take it up. 2 and back it up. All right, march it out. All right, shake out those arms. We have our heart rates up, so let's grab our dumbbells. And do not leave my heat on. All right, so you got your dumbbells. You're gonna stand up, nice and tall. Get your tall posture first, and then we're gonna build on this. So you're gonna have your shoulders. Remember at the beginning, we rolled them up and then set them down and back. All right, so let's make sure we have our shoulders down and back, not drawing up towards the ears. Then you're gonna turn your palms facing forward towards me. We're just gonna do a basic bicep curl from here. So you're just gonna roll the hands right up towards the shoulder, lower it down. Now, we'll do 2 more without any movement. So focus on keeping those elbows pinned in alongside your ribs. 1 more time. And now we're gonna add a tap back with your toe. So right foot first, you tap it, and then bring it back in. Left foot, tap, and bring it back in. Now you can keep your heart rate up for some more cardio if you want to take this a little deeper. If this is new for you, stay nice and controlled. You don't even have to add the tap. If you want to get your heart rate higher, you can take it down into a little lunge if you're ready for that. If this is your first time in class, maybe stick with the tap until you get the stability and the comfort, unless you've been doing something like similar for a while. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one right here. Let's come back to the center and arms come down. Let's do a nice big shoulder roll. And set those shoulders down and back. Now we're gonna go right into our side lateral raise. So this one, we bring hands up facing each other, elbows bent 90 degrees. So you're right here, starting in that position. And then we're gonna raise this up to the side, keeping the arms bent 90 degrees and lowering it back down. Bringing it up and back down. 2 more. Then we're gonna add a tap out to the right side, alternating the left. So let's do 1 more without the step. Add your tap out, right side. So it's a tap and in, now left. Tap and in. Now if you want to, you can, if you're ready for this, take it out into a little bit of a side squat. Lifting and pressing and getting the weight back behind you, in your heels, putting the behind part of you behind you. So you want to make sure the weight goes back, or you just stick with the tap out, which is here and here. All right, we've got a few more of these. Focus on keeping those shoulders down away from the ears, core engaged, elbows bent 90 degrees. All right, 1 more right here. This is it for these. Come back to center, arms come down, nice big shoulder roll up and around. Resettle those arms down along side with your shoulders pulled down and back. Now bend your elbows 90 degrees or more. So you're kind of in this little chicken wing deal. And we're gonna take this and press the pinky side of your hand back and press it up. Get that nice engagement at the top. bring it back in. So press it back up, behind, squeeze it right there, bring it back in. 2 more, press it up, squeeze it, bring it back in. Now after this one, we're gonna add the tap out, starting with the right foot, tap it back. So it's tap and in, and tap and in, tap. Now remember to keep the shoulders pulling down and away from the ears the whole time, to keep your core engaged by pulling in through the center line of the body. Think about maybe pulling the navel into the spine and knitting your ribs together. All right, and most importantly, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears to protect those rotator cuff muscles and joint areas. All right, we got a few more. Press. And we got one more. Press it back. Bring those arms down. Take a little break with the shoulder roll. Up and around. Let those arms settle. Excellent. All right, so bringing your weights over towards your chair, we're gonna do a little abdominal work with one weight. So you're gonna have your chair handy and it'll be up to one side. And then find yourself standing nice and tall with your posture. And the weight will then come up to your shoulder, just like a bicep curl. But then I'm gonna have you lift your elbow and let that weight just kind of settle on your shoulder. If this is your first time in class, you don't even have to use a weight for these. They're done perfectly fine without the weight. So now you're going to open up your leg to one side as you lift your elbow up to the ceiling. So this is a stretch to begin with. It's happening all the way through the side of this body here. So we're gonna get that nice deep stretch, and then we're gonna close it up. We're gonna bring the elbow and the knee towards each other out to the side, and then we're gonna open that back up into that stretch, and then close it back up. Now think about this hip. You don't want that hip to sink. You're lifting up and out of that hip so that you're stabilizing through your hip muscles that support your hip. In other words, you don't want to let your hip sink like that. You want to keep it tall where the hip is right over the top of the knee and the ankle and not sinking out or inward. All right, let's do 2 more. And there's 1. We got 1 more. And there's 2. All right. Bring that foot back down, position it to the ground. Now you're going to stabilize on the other leg by tapping the other toe out. And your weight remains right here on your shoulder to begin with. And then lift the elbow or the knee up and drop the elbow. They don't have to touch. They're just crunching here. And then you're opening it up and getting a little stretch right here. Then we're going to lift it up to the center, squeeze it, and open it up. Feel some stretch from toe to elbow. Bring it back in and open. Good. Now, for some of you that want to add this extra little step, and you know you have healthy shoulders, we can add a little press with the shoulder. So you open it and press it. Then you bring the weight back down, press it up. If you have any kind of shoulder pain or have had in the past, this is a good one to avoid. Just keep the weight on the shoulder. All right, we got 5 more. Press. 4. Press. 3, press. 2, 1 more time. Woo! And bring that weight right back down. Feet together, and we'll switch sides. Come to the other side of your chair. And get yourself positioned with the weight on the outside hand, bringing it right up to the shoulder, rotating that elbow up. Stabilizing on this inside leg as we take the other leg out, getting your nice deep extension here by pulling this elbow up and lengthening through that toe, get that nice deep stretch to begin. And now let's close it up to the side. So we're going to close it and open it and close it. Let's open it. Now close it and open. A couple more of these. Really get that nice extension there, keeping mindful of that hip, that it's not sinking, that you're lifting up and out of the hip. All right, now we have 4 more. 4, 3, 2, last one. And go ahead and set the foot down. Keep your weight right up on your shoulder as you switch feet. So now you're going to stabilize on this hip. This one will be out to the side. This is the side that's easy to sink into because you're pulling it across. So be sure to pull that hip up and then engage up through right here in the midline of the body. Lifting that elbow, let's get that nice extension, and then pull together towards the center line. Then open it back up, get that extension, close it back. 2 more without the press. You're gonna add the press. We're gonna do it after this last one right here. And now we're gonna add the press. So we're gonna pull it together and press. And you don't have to add the press, but when you do, you bring that weight back to the shoulder, pressing it up. Back to the shoulder. Don't try to bring your hand down so far that your elbow and your knee touch and that the weight comes too far down. You wanna make sure you do it safely for your shoulder as well as your abs. All right, let's go for 5, press, 4, press, 3, press, 2, press, 1 more, and press. Good, bring it back down, feet together, and set your weights down on the chair or wherever it's comfortable for you to set your weights. But we're gonna pick up our resistance band. And with your resistance band, we're gonna step on it, both feet about the same distance apart as your hips, toes going straight ahead. Now for some people, you might have a band that's super thick and you can barely move it. You're gonna leave the band just like this and just bring your hands up to your hips. For some of you, you have a band that maybe isn't as resistant and you can cross it over and then build more resistance with that crossed out in front. And then you're gonna put your hands on your hips, pull your shoulders down and back, elbows back. Get that nice tall posture to begin with, just like we did at the beginning. And we're gonna take 8 little baby steps going to the right. Now when you take these steps, you don't wanna let your toe become angled out to the side or inward. Your toe is lining up with your knee, which is also lining up with your hip. And we just have these little baby steps working the outside hip muscles to stabilize the hip. 1 more step. Let's go back the other way. Step, step, good. 3, 4, 5, 6, we got 2 more, 7. Last step right here, and take a little break, bring your arms down. If you've crossed, you can leave them crossed, just let your arms kind of just relax a little bit. And if you haven't crossed your bands, go ahead and cross them now, unless they're so tight you just know you can't do this. Then you would do it without your band. But we're gonna have our bands crossed, standing up tall. And if you know your band is too tight for you to do these, you can always bend through the knees and come down into like a chair squat and do these. But that's only if your band is super tight. Otherwise, we're just gonna stand up nice and tall. And then we're gonna row this up right to the chest, pulling those elbows back behind you, squeezing between the shoulder blades and bringing it back down. So let's pull it up again. And like I said, if your band is so resistant, you really can't do this. You could even have a seat in a chair, or you could get yourself down into what would be like a chair squat and do them from here. It'll lessen the resistance on the band. The taller you are, the more resistance you're gonna get from the band. The closer your feet are together, the less resistance you're gonna get on the band. If you widen your feet, you'll get more resistance. So as we do these, like maybe I'll do them again in a week, you can take note of today, where you are, how they feel, and if you wanna make them more challenging or less challenging. All right, let's do 2 more. Don't forget, we're squeezing those shoulder blades back right here, squeeze. We got 1 more, pull it up and squeeze. Good, and bring it back down. All right, do 1 more set of our baby steps. So if you need to cross, keep it crossed. If you need to uncross, uncross. Hands on the hips, nice tall posture. And we're going to take our baby steps, but focus on keeping it small and controlled, toes staying straight ahead. So baby step, and there's shouldn't be a whole lot of momentum or rocking on these. They're really all about controlling that band by stepping out, resisting it, and using that outer hip muscle. Okay, let's take 1 more step and go back the other way. Step together, step together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 more, here's 8. And go ahead and release the band, come off of it, set the band aside. And we're gonna revisit our weights 1 more time. Let's remain on the chair for now. But we're going to take, if this isn't first time in class and you want to take the kind of the lesser version of the one that's not quite as challenging, you would stay facing the chair right in front of the seat, and you get into a staggered stance here. And if you're in a staggered stance, your feet are just wide like this. Or if this is truly your first time and you don't want to have any challenge with the lower body, you take your leg behind you and set your hip down on the seat. Then the seat is supporting your lower body while we focus on the upper body. So from this position, you're going to pick up both weights because we're going to do some rows. So you got both weights in one hand, if your hand can hold it. And then if you're in the seat, you're just going to rest one hip in the seat, have a leg extended behind you. If you're not in the seat, you're up here in a lunge. And we're going to take these dumbbells right below the shoulder, get a nice tall posture from the crown of the head all the way to the heel, and then row this up. So we're rowing it and we're squeezing that elbow up and back, lowering it back down. Row it up, squeeze it, bring it back down. Row it up, squeeze, bring it down, row it up, squeeze, and back down. 4 more. So we're squeezing it up. 4, lowering it. 3, lowering it. 2, all right, 1 more, take it up. Woo, and bring it down. Go ahead and step your feet together or come up out of the chair, stand up tall, turn it around, and the weights will be in the other hand if you need to set them down and start from scratch without having to do it with your weights. You're going to step forward. Staggered stance could be from here. And then when you're doing them, you're basically getting into this position, or you can come all the way into this little lunge, resting your hip on the seat. Or for those of you that want the leg endurance, you'll come up out of the seat, support yourself from here. All right, so we get that nice tall spine from the crown of the head right all the way down to that heel and engaging through the core. Now let's get that arm so it's extended right below the shoulder and row it up, squeezing and pulling. All right, lower it down nice and controlled. So we squeeze it up, pulling it back, rowing it slowly back down and up. A little rotation there at the top and down and up and down and up. We got 5 more. And up, squeeze at the top, really pulling that shoulder down and back and squeezing into the midline of the body. And 2. Okay, we got 1 more. Row it up and forward. And you can either set the weights down or just step forward and come back up. All right, now we are done with our weights. Set those aside. All right, so I'm going to still keep our chair where we have it. And at this point, you can choose to take your shoes off and your socks off. If you really are uncomfortable doing that, that's okay. But when we get to the point where we're doing our stability and our balance training, it's a good idea to do it barefooted because then you're using all those little intrinsic muscles in the foot. So once you have your shoes and socks off, you're going to face your seat. So we're going to first work on some stability through the hip. So we're going to take in a nice big deep breath, reaching up, inhaling, and then exhaling, bringing your arms down, and then we forward fold. So you're folding from the hips, hands come to the seat. So your hand will be directly below your shoulder and your ankles directly below your hips. So you're in like this tabletop type position. And then from here, I want everybody to pull your navel up towards your spine. All right, so that's core engagement. Just like we had a flat back on the wall, now we want to have that flat back while we're doing these to stabilize our core. And then we're going to take the right hand right up front, kind of like you're trying to shake somebody's hand, but you want it to line up kind of as close alongside your ear as possible. And hold it there for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's set it back down. Do your left arm, reaching out like you're shaking someone's hand. Stabilize from there. Pull that navel up and in. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, now we're going to add the leg. So we're going to reach out with the right arm and see if you can get your left leg behind you and lifting it up, seeing if you can get your leg as high as your hip. If not, just focus on getting your leg off the ground. Now I want you to think about pulling that navel up and into the spine and hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1, set it down. Let's switch to the other side. Reaching out with the left arm, right leg comes up. Pulling that navel up and into the spine, keeping your hips level to the earth. Holding here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back down. One more time each side. Raise up right arm, left leg. Extend. Pull that navel up and into the spine. Holding it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it back down. Last side. Lift up. Left arm, right leg. Extend. See if you can get your balance here for 4, 3, 2, 1. And back down. Hand to the mat or the seat. Foot to the floor. And then you're going to push your weight back onto your heels. Straighten out your arms so the weight's behind you, behind your hips. Or I mean your hips are behind your feet. And then we're going to go ahead and see if we can just lift the chest, lift the eyes, and bring your hands right here to heart center, and then re-engage through your core. We're just going to do a couple little squats. So little pulses from here. So you're down here in the pulse zone for 8, 7, 6, looks good, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring it all the way back up. Reach up overhead, inhale. Exhale, arms come down. And we're going to revisit that hip hinge again. So come down, hands down on the seat. And now we're going to do a, see if we can balance from here. So starting with your left hand, bring it up like you're shaking someone's hand, and then see if you can lift your leg up again. Now for some of you, you may want to challenge yourself, if you've been doing this a while, to see if you can raise up your other hand. If not, no big deal. Just keep holding it here. We're balancing from here. If you can raise up your hand, then you're going to balance from there for 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, set your hand back down. Other hand and foot. Let's do the other side. Reaching out with the right arm. And now lifting up the left leg. This is the initial setup. Pulling the navel up into the spine, getting everything nice and firm. See if you can let go with your hand, even if it's a little bit, even if you just come up on your fingertips. It's okay. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hand comes down, other hand, foot, and settle into your knees. Soften the knees. Push the weight back behind you. Lift your chest, lift your eyes, and hands to heart center. Unless you're really feeling out of balance, you can keep your hands in front. But now I want you to engage your core again. Pull that navel in, and we'll do our 8 little pulses from here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press up. Nice big deep breath. Inhale. Exhale, arms come down. Good. All right, turn so you're just facing the side of the chair. Will be off to your side. And we're just going to do a couple trees. All right. So for your tree, your feet are just anchored to the earth like how we started our class. Nice tall posture, engaging up and in through the core, lifting up on those kneecaps a little bit by engaging through those quads. And then if you want to, you can hang onto your chair, or you can attempt to do this without hanging on. But you're going to take the outside leg. So for me, that would be this leg that appears to be my right. And then you're going to bring it up so you're just a little bit of weight on your toe. See if you can balance from there, lifting up and in, getting all that nice structure through the core, and then rotating out. And then for some of you, maybe you're ready to bring this up and set it on the inside of your calf. And your hands can be at heart center, lifting up through the crown of the head. And when you're ready, you could grow some branches on your tree, bringing those arms up, lifting the chest up to the sky, stabilizing right here, and holding for 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bring those hands back down through heart center and foot back to the earth. All right, we'll switch sides and do our tree from the other side. So positioning our feet, anchoring down, getting that nice tall starting posture, starting with hands at heart center, or if you would prefer to hang on your chair, if this is new for you, that's fine. Hands at heart center. All right, so getting that tall posture, everything's pressing into the midline of the body and up to the sky, grounding into the earth. Let's lift up the foot so your heels are lifted, toes are just anchored slightly to the earth here. Then rotate that knee out to the side. And if this is your first time and you want to just stay here, you can stabilize from here with a little bit of weight on your toe, or you can lift that right up to the side of your inside calf. Standing up nice and tall, and when you're ready, you would grow some branches, bringing those arms up and out. And lifting the chest up to the sky, engaging through your core. Good job, you guys. 5 more counts. 4, 3, 2, and let's bring those hands back down, foot down, and place your feet to the earth. Good. All right, let's take a big deep breath right here. Nice big deep breath. Reach up. Keep your arms up overhead this time unless it's painful for you. Your arms will stay up. Grab your hands into what would be like a steeple grip. So your fingers are joined. You've got them clasped together. A little steeple at the top. We're going to take in a nice big deep breath from here. And then as you exhale, lean over to one side, just slightly, just a little lean. Okay, let's breathe in again. Nice big deep breath. And as you exhale, come back up tall. And inhale again, get tall. As you exhale, lean over to one side, the opposite. And again, taking a nice big deep breath. Exhale, bring it up. And let's go ahead and lower those arms back down by your side and face your chair from the side. So we're going to be looking at the seat of our chair and lifting up the leg closest to the back of the chair onto the seat. We're going to do some of these nice deep hip opener stretches and hamstring stretch. So you're going to, first of all, have that foot flat and then let your hip kind of sink in towards the seat right here while you're trying to keep your heel down and back. Toes should be lined up going straight ahead. All right, so this for some people is a stretch all in itself, just getting your foot on this step or the seat. If that's the case, just stay. You might be right here, that's all you can do. But if you want to go a little deeper, you're going to engage through your glute muscle right here. And that'll allow this hip flexor to really release, to really stretch out that hip flexor, which is super important to stretch because we do a lot of sitting, and those of us who do a lot of walking, these muscles become tight. And it can inhibit the butt muscle. Then your butt muscle becomes kind of weak. So we don't want that. We want to have those all balanced out. So from here, we're going to just sink into it for about 3 more counts. 3, 2, 1. Now press back. All right, and straighten out your leg. See if you can anchor your heel and pull the toes up to the sky, all while keeping a nice tall spine from the ankle all the way up to the ear. Nice straight spine. Toes going up to the sky. For some of you, this is a stretch. This is all you want to do. That's okay. You got your foot up there. The rest of us, maybe we want to go a little deeper. So hinging from the hip, you're just going to press the chest forward, keeping your chest open, eyes up. We're not folding over it yet, but we're going to just slowly hinge forward, starting to feel that nice deep stretch in the hamstring. And we'll hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let yourself fold over your leg. This is where you actually get to bend through the back and let your chin be heavy. And we're going to hold this for 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's slowly come back up to the tall standing position. And let's take the foot and set it down to the ground and switch sides. So we'll be doing the same thing on this side. Foot squat to the seat. Knee comes forward, toes straight in the same direction. This might be the stretch for you. That might be it. And that's great. If it's not quite deep enough, sink forward with me. Engage this muscle here, your glute. That will allow this to stretch a little deeper. Try to keep the heel down. If you can't keep your heel down, just work your heel like you're trying to get your heel down to the earth. And we're going to just lean into this. Feel that stretch all through the front of this hip and into the front of this quad and through the back of that calf. And for some of you, maybe even up here into this thigh. There's lots going on here. All right, let's hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. Press back. Straighten out your leg. Anchor that heel down. Revisit that tall spine with your toes going to the sky. Then we're going to hinge right here from the hip. That means we keep a straight spine from the crown of the head right through the tailbone. To begin with, feeling that building up the resistance in the back of that hamstring. If you're really flexing through those toes, you'll even feel it back in your calf. And we're holding here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now you get to soften everything down and fold over your leg. Even letting the chin be heavy. Getting a little deeper into the stretch, right up into the kind of your low back and your glute, maybe a little bit. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then slowly roll yourself back up. All the way to the tall standing position and foot back to the floor. All right, great job, you guys. And now let's have a seat in our chair, but we're gonna do it mindfully. So we're gonna do it slow and controlled. Stand right in front of your seat. Make sure you know it's right back there. So if you're standing there, you could almost tap it with the backs of your knees. And feet will be hip width distance apart. You can start out with either your hands to heart center or hands to hips, whichever you prefer. I always go to hands to heart center. I feel like it gives me a little more balance and centers me. So we're gonna start out nice and tall, taking a deep breath. And then as you exhale, you're just gonna hinge from the hip. The knees haven't started to bend yet. Now shift your weight into your heels and your knees bend. Knees bend, weight goes behind you. It starts to lower slowly into your chair. And you keep your chest and your eyes up. And then we're gonna slowly get down just so we're hovering the chair. And if you're ready, you can have a seat or you can hover with me right here for 8 little pulses. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, have a seat. Good, all righty. And come out to the front edge of your seat. So you're just kind of sitting right on that front edge. And we will be doing a little bit extra core work from the seated position. So this will work your a little bit of your quadriceps, which are not necessarily considered core, but they'll get engaged into this. And a little bit of the hip flexor, which we want to try to avoid as much as possible, and make sure our abs are doing some work. So in order to do that, you can take your hands and place them alongside you on the seat. This way you'll get a nice tall spine. If you have to do this with bent elbows, it means your spine's probably not tall. So push those elbows straight, push the palms right into that seat. Good, now you're gonna get yourself to that nice tall sitting posture, and the crown of the head's reaching for the sky. Pull that navel into the spine, just like we did earlier, so you can feel your back kind of flatten out just a little bit. And now lift your right foot. So you're gonna just lift the right foot, set it down, lift the left, set it down, and right, and left. Good. We're gonna do a few of these from this really tall seated position. And I don't know about you, but I'm actually feeling this quite a bit right through this core abdominal area here. Very little in my hip flexor. If you're feeling it mostly in your hip flexor, get taller through the spine. All right, we just got a few more. 3, 2, 1 more. All right, now from that same tall seated position, you can take a little break if you need to. So taking a break from this position would basically be allowing yourself to slouch, kind of giving yourself that little break, and then revisiting that tall spine. So coming back up really tall, pressing those palms into the seat, elbows go straight. And now when we do this next set, we're gonna lift up. So start right foot and then extend. So now you're extending, now bend it and set it back down. So keeping that tall spine the whole time. You lift, extend, bend, set it down. Let's do the other leg again. Up, extend, bend, and down. Now you're not just feeling this in the quad. You're not just feeling this in the leg. It should also be up into your core, into those front abdominal muscles, and maybe up into your shoulders and triceps. All right, one more each leg. Lift, extend, bend, down. One more. Lift, extend, bend, and down. Good. All right, now just shake out those arms. That's a little bit of a work right there, just like pressing your arms straight. You're actually engaging this tricep muscle, which for a lot of people, especially as we get older, we feel like they're a little bit of a nuisance more than a help. So by doing that, you're actually strengthening those muscles and it will tighten up that whole underarm area here. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is gonna be sort of similar, but you're gonna straighten out your arms again, getting that nice tall posture. But this time, if you wanna stay with just lifting your leg and doing these abdominals, you can, while some of us will be lifting up a little bit out of the seat with our behind might come out of the seat as we walk our feet out slightly and just kind of come out of the seat just a little bit. And that'll be a stretch across the chest. And then from here, we're gonna see if we can push the hips. You guys that aren't doing this part, just keep lifting your knees one at a time. The rest of us are doing what's called a reverse tabletop. Pushing the hips up out of the seat, getting a stretch through the chest and engaging our glutes. All right, let's just go for 3, 2, 1. Bring it back in. You're gonna slowly get your seat back on the seat and put your feet flat to the earth. And then let's sit up tall, shake out those arms. There's a lot going on when we do those. So if you are uncomfortable doing those, I completely understand, just stick with the other version because we get a lot going on through the wrist, the tricep, the shoulder, and right through the chest. So if you feel tight through the chest, this is actually a good chest opener that will help stabilize the shoulder. So we're going to revisit it one more time. And for some of you, maybe you just want to get the chest stretch out of it and not the rest of it. So in that case, you would put your hands here. And if you are pressing in through your palms, straightening out through your elbows, then you're going to lift the chest up to the sky and look up to the sky. That right there could be the chest opener. And maybe you just stay there for 8 counts while some of us walk our feet out and do the hip bridge as well. So if we walk our feet out, we still have that chest lifted to the sky, but now we lift our seat out of the chair and press up through our hips. So we're trying to reach those hips up. It's like a hip bridge or reverse tabletop for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring yourself back and seat yourself right there in your seat. Feet come back square to the floor. Now we're going to go ahead and come back a little bit deeper into your chair and sit up nice and tall. Let's take and stretch what would be your low back. So this lower back region here by taking the feet just a little wider than they are. So maybe as wide as the legs on your chair and keeping that nice tall spine. Then you're just going to hinge yourself forward. So you're hinging forward like you're going to press the chest down between your legs. And for some of you, that might be all the stretch you want to do. For others, go ahead and tuck your chin in and let your head and chest be heavy, like they're sinking towards the floor. And feeling that low back stretch. And if it's available to you, you can even bring your arms down towards the floor or towards your ankles. And just hold this stretch for 4, 3, 2, 1. Now bring your hands up. If they were down on the ankle or the floor, set them back on your thigh. From your low back, slowly roll yourself back up to a seated position with your neck and head being relaxed. All right, so one more stretch for the low back, and that's going to be where you take your right hand. Well, I'll start with this hand, right hand, and you're going to reach over and slide the back edge of your hand down the outside edge of your kind of your calf shin area over here. See how close you can get to your ankle? And that should be stretching out this region right back over here of your low back. And hold it there for 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's slide that hand back up. Take the other hand, reach it out, bring it across right alongside that outer edge of that shin. And slide your hand down, go as far down as it feels comfortable for you. You're going to feel that stretch along this. It's called your quadratus lumbarum, so your low back muscle. It attaches your ribs to your hips. Hold it there for 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring that back up. Good. And sitting straight forward. Bring one foot up, set it on top of the other. So you've got this position here. Now, if just getting your foot up there is like this, that's okay. You're getting your foot up there. And the goal is, so you want to keep this foot flexed. So you don't want to point it. You want to pull those toes back. Keep that foot directly under this knee. So that's all lined up there. And then if you're in this position and maybe your leg's all the way up here, that's okay. Just straighten out your spine and you're going to deepen that stretch. And for some of you, the stretch is not quite enough of a stretch. So that's where you would put a little bit of pressure right on the inside of that thigh, above the knee, keeping that spine nice and tall, sitting up as tall as you can, crown of the head reaching for the sky. Let's take in a nice big deep breath. And as we exhale, we're just going to hinge forward, pressing the chest forward. That's going to deepen that stretch right into that hip. And hold it here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's come back up and switch legs out. So set that one down, the other one will come up, and each hip is different. So when you get that leg up there, it's going to feel different. You're going to have a different sensation. I always have a harder time with stretching this side than I do the other side. So Be mindful that this foot is flexed, that that foot is directly under the other ankle. Don't make compensations just so you can get in the position. If just getting your leg up to this position is all you can do, that's great, just do that. And those of you that have your leg up and you want to take it a little deeper, sit up taller. Put the little bit of pressure right there on the inner thigh, right above the knee, so not right on the joint, but above it. Get that really tall spine. And then once you feel that deeper stretch, and if it's not enough, you need to go a little deeper, that's where you're going to hinge forward from the hips, keeping the chest open and lifted. In other words, you're not curling down into like a ball. You're keeping everything tall from the crown of the head to the tailbone. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Let's bring it back up. And set your foot to the earth. We're going to scoot all the way to the back of the chair. And from the back of the chair, let your back just rest into the back of the chair. Bring your arms out to the side like a T. Extending those fingers out nice and wide. Even open up between the fingers. So it's like you're trying to spread those fingers as wide as you can. And pressing those arms out as wide as you can. Taking a nice big deep breath. And then as you exhale, bring your hands up and back behind your head. You can even clasp them together right behind your head here. And then you're going to let your weight of your head and your upper body just rest into the back of the seat while you pull your elbows apart and look up to the sky. And just opening up through those elbows should feel really good through your whole front body, all the way from the arm, the shoulder, the chest, into the abdominal area, and we'll hold it. Couple nice big deep breaths. One more big deep breath. And then exhale and bring your elbows forward. And then you can roll yourself down into like a little ball, bringing the elbows down towards the knees, letting your chin come to your chest. And just breathing into this a couple times. And when you're ready, slowly from your lower spine, roll yourself back up to a seated position. And arms will come back out to the side, extending them out, widening those fingers, pressing them out. And now let them come down by your side and relax and just shake them out. All right, that is it for today, you guys. Thank you. And I'll plan on seeing everybody on Friday.